It seems as though you have a layout.
We do.
And definitely want to take a look at the layout while we're here. Alright, so we are near Bob's layout, and all I can say is, wow. I mean, let's talk about this layout. How big is your layout?
It's 28 feet by 6 feet wide, and I've tried to have 4 different locations. Right now, you're looking at the city location. This is the city over here. I got a subway up above. And then after the city, we moved to the country, and I was in the livestock feed business from my real job before I retired, and worked for many feed companies, and I try to represent them all here: Purina, Wayne Feeds, and even show a new feed concept on the right side there, that feed elevator where the grain goes right into a feed truck.
Oh, okay.
Where it's just basically the farmer buys ingredients, which a lot of them do today. So that's, you know, showing the whole progress of the feed industry here, to include a Menards feed store, which I think is really cool. It's got a dog, it's got the feed truck out there, it's got people. I mean, it lights up. It's really neat, and that really adds to my collection a lot. I really like that. And moving on, then, Sean, as you see, we got suburbia with a car wash, McDonald's, the old-fashioned McDonald's, the diner, the bus station, and then a feed warehouse, and then the Exxon, or Esso as it was called in those days, a gas station.
And so I'm saying the Esso or the Sinclair is MTH, car wash is going to be MTH, McDonald's is MTH.
Yep.
Greyhound's MTH.
Yep. Yep.
The Mel's Diner, that's MTH. So the building in the back corner with the dock workers, I don't quite recognize.
That's Menards. That's Menards building, yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then the gas station with the dinosaur, that's an old Lionel accessory that I just love the way it looks when it lights up. It's really cool.
Lionel really did that?
Yeah, that's from that's a post-war baby right there. I just thought it was so neat. I had to keep it, so I kept it on there, though it doesn't really fit in that particular era.
Wow, that is so cool. I like it.
Yeah, sure.
And the old school buses. I just yeah, that is so cool. I just love the old school buses.
Yeah, the Greyhound bus station at Lionel comes with the Pennsylvania Railroad bus, which is there. In fact, I got 2 of them there. Those other buses are ones you can buy as add-ons to that and whatnot. So that's what you've got there, a bunch of buses coming out of the terminal.
And what do you run on this upper loop here that I see?
I have a small little subway set, 3-car, that runs up there, and also it's good to test small engines. Right now, I got a ballast tamper on there from Lionel. I was testing that out, but that's what I work up above. Down here, I have on my...
Hold on here, I want to look at this this wonderful Atlantic City or Atlantic coastline.
Yeah, that's an ABA E6 set from MTH that I tested, and the trailing A that you were just taking a picture of is shorting out.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to have to get that one fixed and get it repaired, and what I'm going to do first is take off the shell and see if I can see anything wrong with it before I send it off to the mechanic to see if I can get it fixed. See if it's an easy fix, may just be a pinched wire or something, but right now it's shorting out. The AB part of it works fine, but when I put the trailing A on, it shuts it down.
So I like the Army switching locomotive here.
The genset, yeah.
The genset,
that's an actual. We had at one of our train meetings one of the people from the Transportation Corps in the Army, and he had pictures of that exact engine. So
wow,
MTH did a beautiful job of reproducing that. And like most gensets, they don't have them anymore. They've gone by the wayside. They weren't a very efficient engine, although they were efficient on fuel economy, but that was about it. They didn't have the pulling power that people like, so most of them were moved on to something else.
Oh, okay.
But I like that genset. I've got a whole Army set over there of tanks and whatnot that I can put out on the layout if I want to. Little Army display here of MTH tanks, armored vehicles, and whatnot there.
Now this is quite unusual. I have not seen an RF&P crane and tender.
Yeah, that's brand new. Came out in the past year, just delivered.
Okay, so this is an MTH, or is this the Atlas Premier?
Nope, still MTH in those days. Yep.
Okay,
we got those. Yeah, sure is.
Wow.
So then we got the oil refinery here, another warehouse, and then the the Budweiser brewery there that does smoke. It has a smoking unit in it. Some of them do not, but that one does. Smokes, fogs up the whole basement when I put it on. So that one does it. And then you move on here to the circus area. And you can see all the circus stuff. I'll go ahead and turn it on for you so you can see that in operation.
Wow.
That particular parachute jump is to tell me that the power's on. I keep one. This is maybe a hint somebody else would like to do. I'll walk away from my layout and forget I left the power on. Well,
yeah.
If I see that operating, I know I left the power on, so I can shut it off. So that's working, you know the power's on.
Okay. Wow, that was quite a circus scene there, Bob. I seen you were showing off this particular train on your...
The Illinois Central, City of Miami. Again, another rare set. Took me 5 years to find that baby, but just look at the road markings on it and everything. It's just a beautiful engine with the color combinations on it. It was Illinois Central, started up in Chicago, wound up in Miami. 3 railroads took it to Miami, drove it down there, and it was in the 1940s. Beautiful set right there, and the color markings are just gorgeous. Again, another kind of commuter train that was specialized, like the East Wind, just in hauling people from Chicago to Miami.
Wow.
Want to see it run?
Sure.
I'll do it.
Yeah, let's see that. A wonderful set run.
We'll run both of them. Together.
Oh yeah, seeing those two trains run were great. So how long did it take you to build all this, Bob?
Well, Sean, when I moved in here 7 years ago, I was running trains in the first day. 24 hours I had trains on a board running them. And over the years I've been here, I've been expanding it and growing with it. And I got some plans right now to do some additional corrections and new things on it in the future. And, you know, as I pick up collections, like recently I picked up the Sauerkraut Factory this is from Menards also right there, Sean. I just added that to the layout, which I didn't have before. And you have the warehouse across the street and that movie theater on the left there.
Yes.
Those are all new to the layout. I had other things there over time and moved them. So, you know, add things all the time as things come up. But I thought that Menards Sauerkraut Factory was really interesting and something different that you don't see very often, you know?
Oh yeah, I agree. Wow.
And then, you know, what I've tried to do over the years is focus on a couple of the railroads. I always ask people when they tell me they want to buy something, what railroad are you interested in? My main focus is the RF&P stuff over here. So this is my wall of RF&P freight cars. I also have the E8 ABA set along with all the passenger cars go with that. I think it's a 10-car set. On my left over here, we have the UP engines. And I have the City of San Francisco, the City of Los Angeles, which is two beautiful sets that MTH did also. The engines are up there, and the cars are in boxes because I can't fit on the wall. But try to keep up with all the different types of engines that MTH had in UP. And all my pride and joy, of course, is the Coors Light set there with the rear rail tail car on the end. And that's a real neat set to see it operate with the smoke come out when the doors open.
Yeah,
really
it reminds me of that commercial. So perfect. They did they did a good job on that.
It really does. And down here we have I've collected several of the box cabs that MTH did around the wall here. Both I try to focus on Virginia, but also got a lot of Pennsylvania and some New Haven engines in there too, along with the new U.S. Army Line L engine. And then down the bottom, of course, I got the 611, the steam engine tender and water tender. And then, of course, the 1218, the unshathed J. And then over here to the right, I have the MTH Heritage units. I have all of them that MTH produced from here down. Up here is a 911 set, the two that MTH did, and the one that CSX did. MTH also put that out, which I understand. I guess Lionel's done that now. But those are the main Heritage units that they did, with some BNSF engines below and some other special engines. And over here, this is the Heritage engines that MTH did in UP, starting with the Rio Grande, Western Pacific, Southern Pacific, and so on to Katy. And of course, this is the normal UP along with the CNW there. And of course, the three F9 units that Lionel recently did, the Aberdeen, Carolina, and Western, and the Bessemer, and of course the Reading and Northern. Those are really beautiful engines too that Lionel just did. But above that is all the engines that UP had in Heritage done by MTH, which Lionel's now coming out with.
And what's this top one? That looks cool.
Pick that one out. That's one of my favorites. That's done by Metka up there in the metropolitan New York area. That's one of their custom runs they did. And they just come out with another one, the red one that's like that. And they have that for sale. They'll be coming in sometime later in the fall. But that one right there is a real special engine designed by the folks there at Metka. Beautiful. I think it's great. The graphics on it. Although it's fantasy, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And, you know, I like fantasy stuff. I see some people, you know, don't like it, but I like it myself.
Yeah, that particular one, huh?
And, you know, there's been fantasy units that, you know, things that I bought on my own. And Metka does a nice job. Especially, I like the inspiration of the World War II era they did here.
Oh, yeah, P-51.
The P-51, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Because that's like my favorite type of airplanes are from World War II.
Yeah.
So you'll like the new one. The red tail that he speaks of is actually the Tuskegee Airmen. It's
Yes.
based off of them.
Yeah.
And I thought that being a historian, even though it's fantasy, I love that. I absolutely, and it looks gorgeous. God.
Yeah.
He had to have it after that, too.
And then we'll take a look closer over here in this area. Yeah, at the Norfolk Southern first responders.
Plus, I have the complete Norfolk Southern responder set, all the cars they did for that, and that was really interesting to collect. It's a very interesting set that MTH did there.
Now these MTH locomotives, the heritage ones, didn't they come in a special black box?
They did. They did originally. Towards the end, they went away from the black box and they were in purple boxes when they came out in the early Proto 3 era. They had them in purple boxes, Sean. They went away from the black box.
And the Evolution Hybrid. Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go. There it is.
The special box.
And the Evolution Hybrid, that has the green lights that flash around it, correct?
Yes. The running lights that run all the time, yes. Really cool.
Yeah, I do like that. I've seen a couple of them here and there, people running them.
Yeah, Lionel and MTH both have come out with some engines with running lights now. I think are really neat. Gives more color to it, for sure.
And then going through this area here, and oh, wow. I like the military scheme here.
As being a retired military, I had to get the Kansas City Southern military heritage unit they did, both the engine and caboose.
And Virginia, these are box cabs, right?
Yes, and that's actually did have those. That's a real rare one to find too. You find that in Chicago Northwestern and other railroads, but you very rarely find it in Virginia. But the Virginian Railroad actually had that.
And what do we have here?
Yeah, that is something that they did. New York Central had a lot of those, and Virginia actually had them too. They ran a lot of coal, and they didn't do much ever of passenger trains, but they did a lot of coal and run over mountains and whatnot. They used those box cabs in their areas where they loaded the trains and built the trains. So those box cabs and whatnot really helped out there.
Wow. That is cool. And that's Pennsylvania. Is this semi-scale?
Yeah, it's a semi-scale GG1 that is a P2.
Oh, okay.
It has some issues with it that I really liked with the P2 that they did. And then, when it went to P3 in MTH, they came out with some scale ones, much larger.
Right.
And I really didn't particularly care for the larger GG1s.
This looks almost like the set that sits over at the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it does, yeah. That box cab was there. You're right, with the red roof. Yep.
With the red roof. I mean, I recognize that instantly.
Sure, yeah. And two Long Islands there, being formerly from New York. Yep, sure.
And that's an obscure piece. What is that?
Crocodile, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pennsylvania actually had that one too, yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the...
Another electric, a lot of these are all electric engines that they ran all over Pennsylvania into the Northeast, which was electrified.
Wow, this is some cool stuff.
A lot of box cabs that Pennsylvania had.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with box cabs at all. And here's another. This has got to be one of the biggest unique pieces I've seen.
Oh,
what is that?
I have to look that up, Sean. I don't know exactly what that's called, but that's another one of their large box cabs.
Wow. And look at this. That's Virginia's a big one too.
Yeah, that's a Cascade. That's something that Virginian actually had, and it is a huge piece. You definitely have an 072 to run that baby. It was more prevalent at Pennsylvania Railroad, but the Virginia is kind of a unique one if you can find it.
And then we have the veranda. I recognize that.
Yeah, the new Pennsylvania one. The one I really liked that was the siren that it has. You can run around your
yeah
with the siren going. That's something different no other engine does.
Yeah, it has the air raid siren on it.
Yep.
Yeah. And I've seen the couple guys run these, and they're pretty impressive when they're running.
They are.
This is
There's
the
Triple X, and Virginia had one of those too. And that's a Premier one. They also had that MTH had in Rail King.
Oh wow. And then we got the Virginia 700.
Yep, that's the Triple X, and then below it the 611.
611. Wow.
And this is the same engine that Norfolk and Western had before they made it into a J. That's called the unsheathed J. That, you know, basically it's the same engine, just didn't have the front end on it like the new one had.
Oh, okay.
That's what it originally looked like.
Now the one above that, this Pennsylvania, is this an S2?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a QSI. It's the only way MTH ever made it was in a QSI. And a very easy way to tell QSI engines, you see the white wall tires?
Yes.
That's always, they only did that in QSI. So anytime you see a white wall tire, you know it's QSI.
Oh, well, that's a good little tip there.
Some of the guys will take a magic marker and blacken those out to fake you out, but you know, if you see that, you know right away it's QSI.
Okay. So obviously this is your Union Pacific display.
Right, yep. I tried to collect all the different engines that UP did, and boy, they had a lot of them. I probably don't have all of them, but I tried. You know, a lot of the diesels and steam engines. And you can see up here, I got two of the Graybirds and the Greyhounds. It's this one and this one, and you know, the Greyhounds were a rare set. They didn't stay that way very long. The more rare ones in the Greyhound is with a white instead of yellow stripe. That's the real rare. We find a white one, that's the one to find because you can't find it.
Oh, okay.
Now in black, this is the same engine, the 844 in black. It has white, but it's black. You don't see that in the Greyhound. Only very rare do you ever see the white light signs on it.
What am I looking at here? I've never seen anything like this before.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest engine UP ever had. You got 3 pieces there.
Okay.
Very huge engine, very heavy engine. Didn't last very long. I think they bought about 40 or 50 units of that, and it didn't last very long.
What is this, a steam turbine?
Yes.
Okay. That explains it. That explains why it's so huge.
Oh yeah, and heavy too, very heavy.
So you had this piece and this piece that goes together?
Yep, all 3.
And this one here.
And tender behind, yep.
Wow.
The water tender, yeah.
And you had the DD40AX?
Yep.
Because I know Lionel did the DD35AX, but I like the 40 better.
I had a 35 up there, and a gentleman called me and wanted it and bought it from me, and I sold it. But yeah, I like the 40s better too. The 35's a little stubby.
Yeah.
Not as much.
Now I'm looking at, this is a wonderful piece here. The Coors Light. Yep. This is an MTH piece. The Coors Light Silver Bullet. I remember the commercials, and MTH did a great job copying the train from that commercial. They actually brought that, because I think that was a cartoon type of commercial.
It wasn't real, yeah, exactly.
So I think they did a good job bringing that to model form. And for those who don't know, there's one car, right, that opens up, or 2 cars that open up and actually spray out mist.
Yeah, the 3 cars along with the tail car all open up.
Okay.
The tail car's a rare one to find.
Okay, and the and it came in a special
Coors Light box.
Coors Light box, which looked just like the cartoon.
Yeah.
And it looks just like the Coors Light packaging from back then. I'm not sure if they still they look this way, but wonderful, wonderful. And you got a also a gen switcher here as well.
Yeah, they UP does keep the gen sets in California. Because of air quality standards, they still use the gen sets out there in California, which right now is probably the only active railroad that has gen sets operating.
Now, I see you had this display that says Lionel Century Club on there.
Yeah, 773.
Yeah, explain what that is, because not, especially me, I wouldn't know anything about this, because, but what is the uniqueness of this? Why?
Well, back in the 50s, Lionel did a 773.
Okay.
it was one of their first engines they did, steam engines like that, and it's the rarest one today. If you can find a 773 in the box from that era, it is worth a lot of money. What they did is, Lionel does many times, they find an engine that sells very good, they come out with it again a second time and reintroduce it. And that's what they did with this one. And this one is in a display case. It's not as valuable, Sean, as the original one, but that steam engine is the remake of the original one.
Oh, okay.
Yep. In that display case, which they should have done that the first time because it's really beautiful.
Yeah, that it is. And I find this, since I'm a diesel locomotive guy, I find this one pretty unique. That's a U50, correct?
Mm-hmm, it is. Kind of ugly, yeah. Yep. Different, huh?
It's different. It's definitely different. You can instantly spot it.
Yep,
that's for sure.
Sure can. Yep. Yep. Here, Sean, we have the RF&P collection that I've done over the years, finding stuff at train shows and other collectors, and also on eBay stuff for sale. We're fortunate here because the RF&P actually was based out of Ashland, Virginia. They had their corporate office there, and there's one surviving ex-president of the RF&P we had at one of our train shows, and he did make a presentation. He's in his 80s, he lives in a nursing home. He's very sharp still at his age and does a great job in front of everybody. But he got a real charge of all the stuff that we had that has been duplicated in the railroad that he used to run years ago. So it's really neat.
Now, the railroad that runs right in front of Tiny Tim's, isn't that an old RF&P line or no?
Yeah, right now it's run by the CS&X, but the RF&P headquarters was right above, right north of there, where the college is based now. In Ashland is where the RF&P headquarters were at the time. But yes, that track was RF&P track to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
All right, so let's take a look at some of your inventory.
Okay, let's do it.
Thank you once again, Bob, and we'll see you trackside.
Thank you so much, Sean, for coming.
All
Really
right.
enjoyed it, too. Thank
Okay,
you.
goodbye.
Bye now.